Well, hello everyone and welcome to the 2025 edition of this, the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain. We have our first round here at Donington Park about to get itself underway, and I could not be more excited. My name is Connery Maddock. I'm joined by Paul Smith for this broadcast as we wait in anticipation to see some of the best Porsche sim drivers in the UK take to the track here in iRacing. We are back.
We're so back, and well, I can't wait for this series. It's one of the highlights of the year for me, is this, in terms of British sim racing. And yeah, let's get cracking with this. Donington Park, the Grand Prix layout, quite a tricky challenge for those drivers, but it does give you opportunities to make some overtakes.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Every single race we've had here has felt completely bonkers. So really going in with some admittedly quite high expectations from some of the racing and some of the side-by-side battling that you'll get to see here today. But of course, this is not the only round. It is the first one, but next time we do head on over to Thruxton for race meeting number 2. Then we head to Silverstone for race meeting number 3, right slap bang right in the middle of the season. Then we go to Oulton Park, and then we finish up at Brands Hatch for the 5th and final race meeting for this particular championship. In terms of the format for today, well, it looks a little bit like this. The qualifying will be lone qualifying. That means no other driver can affect any other driver's lap. They will get 2 flying laps. They'll get to do it in 10 minutes. Then we'll get into our race number 1, which will be 30 minutes. And then we go into race number 2, another 30 minutes. All of it fixed setup, so no changes apart from the very basic things on the car. So every car is identical, and we also have standing starts. We have 2 classes though. We have the pros and the AMs. So the pros will be in the 992 Cup cars, and the AMs will be in the Cayman GT4 Club Sports. The prizes, the top 3 drivers in each class will win a half-day driving experience at the Porsche Experience Center at Silverstone. Pro drivers will participate in the 911 experience, and AM drivers will participate in the Cayman experience. And let me tell you, as someone who has done one of these experience days in a 911, it is something that I will never forget.
I just got to sit and let somebody else do all the driving, so I had the easy time. Yeah, for some reason they wouldn't let me behind the wheel, but there you go. But yeah, no, it's a great half-day experience, is that, and the winners, the top 3 of each class, will attest to that from last year's series as well. What a tremendous opportunity it is for them.
Yep, absolutely. It was incredible. And as someone, obviously, that was my first time driving any sort of performance car, let alone a high-spec Porsche 911. It was quite different from my normal daily driver. Let's just say that. It was absolutely crazy. But yeah, that's what's on the line for these drivers. If they do well over the course of the season, they'll be able to get that experience as well. But before we can even think, really, Paul, qualifying is underway.
Absolutely, and Kieran Sharp here, he's a really talented driver, is Kieran, from the TSRC team, and he's going to be one to keep an eye on up at the front there. But Ryan Mikulev, again, he's another really quick driver. Can be a little bit inconsistent at times, but I tell you what, if he really hooks things up throughout the season, he's going to be a threat in that Pro Championship.
Yep, he absolutely is. We're continuing to ride on board here with Kieran Sharp as he goes in towards the back end of the layout. Of course, we are on the GP layout here at Donington Park, where we get the extension down into the hairpin before we race back up in towards the entry for the final corner here. Just one more overtaking opportunity than you would normally get around here as Sharp hooks it all in. We've got 4th, well, he's got 4th in the pro qualifying order at the moment. Will it be an improvement as he heads his way across the line? It will not. He remains, well, it's improvement in time, but not an improvement in position. He's still almost half a second adrift of Mikulev in front.
only 5,000ths though off of George Tyler, as Gordon Marshall goes up into third place in Pro. David Biggerdike at the top of AM as well. As I say, that Adam Graveson has just set a quicker time in AM as well. So it really is, the really fun thing about this series is if there's not really anything happening in one class, that usually means that there's something happening in the other class as well. So you're always getting plenty of action here in this championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's fantastic to see, because we got a huge range of skill levels up from, you know, the top of the pros all the way down into the AMs, right? So there's going to be a close little battle somewhere on this circuit, no matter if it's at the sharp end or a little bit further back. As we have a look at Matthew Jordan, head his way through the first sector here at Donington, partly with the fantastic Craner curves descending down the hill in towards the old hairpin. In any car, that's a fun section of circuit.
It's very steep, I can attest to that as well. Yes. Having been there to Donington, it's quite the trek up there. As Shiraz Khan, look at him just working the wheel there as he comes on through Coppice, down the Starkey Straight, then heading towards the Fogarty S's. You've got to be careful with this one, because you can get yourself an off-track penalty which invalidates your lap time going through that one, but it does so well. Down to the Melbourne hairpin, hard onto the brakes. Oh, missed his apex there. That's going to cost him a few tenths as he gets onto the power once again. And yeah, I think he realises that wasn't the best run into the Melbourne hairpin. Into Goddard's, then you can take a very wide line. Give yourself a late apex so you can get on the power earlier to launch out of the corner. You'll do that in qualifying, maybe not so much in the race, because that opens you up to attack.
Yes, absolutely. Big door wide open that the opponents behind you will feel very comfortable in slinging down the inside of. Yes, you can't really be leaving the door open there. But on a qualifying lap, with no one else out there, with lone qualifying, it is absolutely fine to do. Here's Edward Hope heading his way through the exit of the final corner. And across the line now, 7th place in the pro order for the moment, for a driver who has seen many a Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain race, as we're now running on board with Oliver Stone coming towards the back end of a lap here in the number 22. So having a look at the order sort of up and down, both pro and am here for the moment, it looks like the mid-packs of both are looking very, very competitive here at this point. We see Will Eatwell 0.3 of a second behind the pole position setter, then Marshall, who's 0.4, then George Tyler, who's 4.5, then Sharp is not much further back than that as well. Very competitive inside the top 5 of pro. Andy Schell heading his way through the Melbourne hairpin now, still has yet to set a time. That's why we see a little dash next to his position there on the lower third. So this is going to be one that has to count then for the driver of the number 5. Getting the power down off the corner. Across the line he goes. A 1:36.8 for Andy Schell, and it does count. It's P17 in AM.
Yeah, Ashley Toft that we're on board with, I believe, has actually run their 2 laps, so they're now just getting a little bit of last-minute practice here. Yeah, I think a lot of the grid in Pro will be delighted to see that Matt Caruana's in our YouTube chat and not out there on track. So I think they'll be happy seeing that, because it means that we've got a chance. Matt was absolutely dominant last year, wasn't he? And showed why he ended up going on representing Great Britain in the Motorsport Games last year, of course. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Getting to represent the country, absolutely fantastic thing to really be a part of. And again, just showing that these sim drivers
just as good as some of the real ones. As Tofty, he's going to head his way down in towards pit lane. Obviously, as you mentioned, Paul, he was not going to improve on a lap time anyway, as he'd used all of his allotted lap times. We are winding down the qualifying session now, though. 10 seconds left remaining as we look at Andy Schell head his way down into the braking zone for Melbourne once again, but won't be able to get back to the line. There's Ryan McAuliffe, who's been able to get himself pole position then for the first race of the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain here at Donington Park. He looks, there's a bit of a smile going on there, obviously happy with himself with that performance. But here's a recap of the starting grid then. So Ryan McAuliffe in P1. Then you've got Edward Hope in P2. Will Eatwell will start in third with Gordon Marshall in fourth. George Tyler in P5 with Kieran Sharp lining up in sixth place. Then you got Dave Martin in P7 with Oliver Stone P8. Ryan Elliott in 9th with Ben Smith in 10th. Aidan Carter will line up in 11th with Andrew Pike in 12th. With the rest of the pro order, we've got Ben Ford in P13, then Ned Wurton in P14. Luca Monroe starts 15th with Mike Rayner 16th. Alistair Pollock 17th and Matthew Cheverton in P18. Lewis Penny will round out the 19 cars starting for pro. Then you have a look at Adam Graveson takes the pole position there with Ben Shallcraft in P2. Then Jake Andrews and Ashley Toft will take the second row of the starting grid. Fifth goes to David Burkheide, and then I have a little bit further down. It was Kieran. Excuse me, I completely missed that. The Watt driver in P6 there. We went too fast on the graphics. Jamie Rodwell in P7 with Matthew Clark P8. Tom Heritage P9 and Matthew Jordan in P10. Jacob Jenner in P11 with Roy Weller in 12th. Then Harley Byrne in P13 with Shiraz Khan 14th. Nick Scott P15. Ben Sieber in P16. Andy Schell 17th with Ryan Hilton in P18. Well, we're not hanging around here today, guys, because the drivers are already waiting for the green light to get their Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain season started. We are go here at Donington Park. It's already a challenge for the race leaders. Edward Hope tries to make some progress around the outside here. Gordon Marshall in behind in third place as well, but Will Eatwell finds the inside through Redgate to make a challenge for P2 as well. Ryan McAuliffe will hold on, coming down the Craner curves here as they're 2x2 for second place. That's Will Eatwell and Gordon Marshall really not giving each other a lot of space there. They're going to have to concede down in towards the old hairpin for the first time. It's Eatwell ahead in third with Gordon Marshall in fourth, and a couple of shuffles for position a little bit further behind. The AM start as well. We've got Adam Graveson up leading that one with Ben Shallcraft in P2, Jake Andrews in P3. So there's been not much change there at the very front of AM, although it does threaten as we see a car go off there. Didn't quite see who that one was dropping down the order. Yeah, it was Hope.
From second place off at Coppice, so yeah, something happened to him, and I don't think it was by choice either. The AMs won't be liking this because they've got pros mixed in with them as well. This makes it all a bit awkward as we're on this opening lap. We've had cars cutting across the chicane, there's gravel across the track. Porsche Sprint GB is back.
Marshall fell down the order, same with Dave Martin as well, so there's been more drama in the pro category over the last couple of moments on this first lap as they run their way through Goddard's here for the first time and come across the start-finish line to end their first lap. In pro, it is McAuliffe that leads from Eatwell from Sharp, but a couple of threats of changing his opposition here as Gordon Marshall looks to try and work his way through after losing a whole bunch of positions on the start.
Yeah, this is now, if you've not had the start that you want, this is where you need to start recovering things and trying to make amends. It is a long race for these drivers, half an hour. It is a sprint race, but it's still, you know, it's not one of those quick, short, sharp sprints. It's got a good bit of length to it, so you can really get stuck into it. And towards the end of the race, if the track was a bit hotter, you'd be maybe worried about how the tyres are going to last. It's 22 degrees, best part of 22 degrees on the track, so tyres shouldn't really be too much of an issue. But look at Will Eatwell all over the back of our race leader.
Yeah, absolutely. And these two have pretty much broken away from the rest of the pack here. They've both got around about 2.5 seconds over third place here at the moment. So a great early advantage for these two. But as soon as they start fighting, if they start fighting, then you can count Sharp and Tyler further back through the field, still in this one. That's what happened to Roy Weller with a big trick through the gravel and a big impact with a tyre barrier coming out of the green curves there, and having to get himself back going. And this is what happened to Edward Hope. It was 3 wide into there, which never usually works, and Edward Hope got the worst of it, had to rejoin the circuit.
He was taking such a wide line into Coppice, and I don't think had just taken into account those cars on the inside. Shiraz Khan finding out what happens when you've got cold rear tyres on the exit of Coppice there as well. Oh dear, and that caught up a couple of cars through that one. Nick Scott got caught out by the inside of that curve at Redgate. I've fallen foul of that many a time. I can tell you of that from hard experience there. And Matthew Clark just carrying a little bit too much speed, gets on the flasher as well. As you start panicking, you start randomly pressing buttons on your wheel.
Yeah, absolutely. Just trying anything to fix the situation, but normally from experience that just all makes it worse. But as we see this pro order, potential challenge for position here for Ben Smith on Ben Ford. So the two Bens side by side down into the chicane. They do give each other ample room, as will may see Gordon Marshall try and get himself involved in this one as well. And sorry, Aidan Carter try and get himself involved here, but to not much success, as Ford slots himself ahead with Smith in behind, and now Carter will have to be that third in line.
Aidan is quite an adept sim racer. He's really come on. Stuck his nose in there, and that just meant that Ben Smith gets a little bit unsettled, and now he's getting a little bit sort of bullied down the order here is Ben. He's got Gordon Marshall not that far back either. They're going to maybe challenge back there. Carter holding on to the spot for the time being there.
Absolutely. So Carter splitting the two Bens just on that bottom end of the top 10 there in the pro category. The leaders in that category still as close as ever. Will actually setting fastest lap in this race so far. So really keeping pace with your race leader and pole position sitter as well. A bit of side-by-side going on behind. Smith around the outside, trying on the inside of Carter there. And, well, it's not going to end up being so successful as Carter ends up maintaining position there in P10. But yeah, we're seeing some nice battling going on up and down the field here. Of course, we got this one for the bottom end of the top 10 in Pro, but there's things happening elsewhere, just like this one as well. A little bit further back through Pros, it's Dave Martin around the outside. We'll have to take the shortcut across the gravel, though, and we'll take the slowdown penalty as a result of that, too.
Yeah, he was kind of bullied into that position, really, and had to take to the gravel. I'll tell you what, it's going to look like Brighton Beach with the amount of pebbles that are going to be on the track after this opening race, by the looks of things. And yeah, back on it, as your race leader overall has been able to just pull out a little bit of a gap over Will Eatwell and set the fastest lap on that last lap as well, as Adam Graveson at the front of Am again has pulled out just about a second gap there at the front of Am, as a bit more battling further down for Jonathan Ogden.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ogden currently one place down on where he started. Tom Heritage ahead has gained 3 here at this very moment in time. So a good start from Heritage. A good couple of these mid-pack running AMs actually have had decent starts, sort of picking up the pieces of some issues that happened within the first 2 laps here. So there's something to be said about keeping yourself in it and keeping your nose clean to try and get your season off to a good start here at Donington Park.
Yeah, it's all about getting off of the right foot. With it being a short season as well, you think only 5 weeks, 2 races per week, so that means 10 races. It's not really the longest amount of time that you can have to be able to try and make amends for a bad start to the season. Luca Monroe is trying to battle with Alistair Pollock in front right now. Pollock holding on to that place for DCW Racing ahead of Luca. I believe Tom Heritage has had a issue in Am further down the order.
It looks to be the case, slipping down now into P11 there for Tom Heritage, which is not ideal, but he'll try and get the good run through the chicane regardless, and will tag onto the back of Andy Schell, but looks like he just lost it coming through the right there. That's down at Compass, isn't it? Pointing in the wrong direction. So yeah, not sure if there was any contact from behind, to be honest. We didn't quite get a good view of it on the camera.
I think with the way that the car suddenly broke away like that, I think it was just the slightest of touches. And that's the problem. When you turn in there, you've got the weight transfer there. It only takes the slightest of touches and it sends the car around. So, yeah, that's suboptimal, is what we're saying. Yeah. Oh. Just the tiniest of touches, all that. But that, like you said, you only need a tap to upset the car through that section. Yeah, it just resulted in what we just saw there. But as we look back at Pro, this is on board with Ben Smith, who now has Ben Ford ahead of him. So Aidan Carter actually has slid back in this group a little bit. He's now the third in this trio, and actually Andrew Pike, they've all sort of caught Andrew Pike. So this is an interesting closing up here in the middle of the Pro order, which might result in some potential little battles here and there. Yeah, Ryan Elliott's just at the head of this group as well, so we've got, what, a 6-car battle, because Gordon Marshall's not that far back either. So yeah, it's a 6-car battle then for 7th place. They have dropped back a little bit though from 6th place Ned Wharton. Well, again, he's only about a second down the road from Ryan Elliott, so it's quite, you were quite right in both Pro and in AM. That mid-pack of both categories is really quite compact. Yeah.
Very, very closely matched indeed. We saw it in qualifying, now that we're seeing it in race pace as well. That's potentially the danger point here, as we see a sort of potential swap at the very front there. There's something in our timing screens there as Will Eatwell getting a fantastic run coming through the chicane and actually makes the move. Actually, has McAuliffe run into an issue? Has he got a slowdown penalty? That might have caused the glitch on our timing screen there just for a moment, but it looks like he had to serve something.
Yeah, he's got a slow down penalty. He's served it now. Yeah, that's a big mistake. And I said how easy it is to get an off track through the chicane, through the Fogarty S's, but yeah, he just cut just a little bit too much through there. That got him the slow down penalty. And that means we've got a new race leader in Will Eatwell. As in AM, it's all kicking off because Jamie Bardwell now is trying to get 3rd place.
Yeah, Bardwell looking for the move, and as we see them trying to get the big instant impact. Wow,
that's bigger Dyke.
It is big one coming out of the chicane there, and that is a severely damaged car taking the tow. And yeah, I kind of understand the reaction, to be honest.
And do you know what that is? He saw those two in front of Bardwell and Toft battling away, slowing each other down through the Fogarty S's, and thought, I'm going to get the run of my life through the S's. The problem is he's had too much of a run and ended up getting caught out, and the back end just went away. Here we go. And he's caught out by the car in front. He's had to avoid it. The back end goes out and bang! That's concrete. That's not tyre stacks or Recticel or anything like that. That is concrete right there.
It's one of those crashes that you see that that you see in the simulator and just go, I'm thankful this is simulated, because that would be a hard hit to take in real life racing. So yeah, that's, I guess, one of the benefits of doing it like this. There's not really the danger associated with big crashes like that. But look at it, stacked up nose to tail throughout this entire section amongst these drivers. They're absolutely bunched up here for the 7th place in Pro. Like I said, you got Elliott at the front, then you got Pike, then the two Bens, Ford and Smith, and then Aidan Carter bringing up the rear here. This feels like it's a powder keg going to go off very soon.
I mean, we've still got 17.5 minutes. We've not even reached the halfway point of this first race. I think right now you're a little bit of a management situation. You're looking after the car. you do want to have an element of looking after the tyres as well, because you don't want to be too aggressive and wear them out too much so that you can't attack towards the end, but you can't be too light on them either. You've got to keep pushing the car in front to try and force a mistake out of them, and you've got to take advantage. And you're seeing how this queue of cars, they're almost stalling each other out. It's a bit of a trolley train.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, I mean, sort of sitting in each other's wake here at the moment, and it only takes one mistake for that door to open, though, for any of these guys. And actually, Ben Smith's going to try a little bit around the outside of Ford here. Is going to be unsuccessful in doing so, although Ford himself has a bit of a run over Pike as we get the look in from behind as well, as there's Edward Hope actually trying to make some progress after what happened on the first lap. So he's trying to charge back through the field.
And Hope's quick, we know that.
Yes.
He's experienced in this series, he was experienced in the Rafa Racing Club Porsche Esports Carrera Cup Great Britain as well, so he's somebody who knows this car inside out. He's somebody who knows what it takes to be a hard charger in a series like this. Yeah, he'll be absolutely furious with what happened, but you've got to put that to the back of your mind and absolutely go for it.
Yeah, you really do. And well, he's down 11 places on where he started, so it's a long road back from here. But given the amount of cars he has for the picking in this particular train, like that is basically within a couple of seconds of you know, as a group ahead of him, then if he can pick them off one by one, slowly but surely, he can start to recover these points from these races. And in fact, Eden Carr is just going to flat out get out of the way.
Carter's had a slowdown penalty from the old hairpin. He's just served it going into the chicane. He's tried eking it out. Well, that's it. He's tried eking it out for the full time to try and minimise the time lost. But you can see how far it was going, and eventually had to admit defeat and give the place over to Edward Hope.
Yeah, so that is one of the freest positions that Ed Hope will get in this entire sequence here. Let's see if he can get any more and perhaps make, and the others can make a challenge of it and not have to deal with the slowdown penalties influencing things. But yeah, absolutely nose to tail down in towards Redgate here, with less than quarter of an hour to go in this race. So halfway stage, things looking a little tense, I guess, for this little pack in Pro. In terms of AM, the leads come down a bit as Adam Graveson and Ben Shallcraft, that's down towards 8.5 tenths of a second now, so that has come down in slightly. So this is one of those things that we're definitely going to keep an eye on for the end of this race, because now the battle for the race lead in AM is actually closer to the one in Pro.
Certainly is, and it's giving us a bit of food for thought as to what can potentially happen here in AM. So those two were keeping an eye on the lead. The overall lead has come down a little bit as well. I've been keeping a little bit of an eye on that. Oh, contact between Pike and that was one of the other cars. I didn't get the number, but yeah, Pike's the one who's really been affected by that one. Drops down to 13th. Believe it was Gordon Marshall.
Yeah, may have been the 103. We'll have to check that one again. But yeah, that's an instant actually we tend to see coming out of that chicane section. It's you know, just leaning on that right rear just a little bit too much from that car behind on exit right there. And luckily, well, I mean, not so lucky for for Pike, who makes contact with the wall.
I'm putting that on the blue and white car, because they've taken the line, but then they've tried to pull across to try and block Pike from getting the run, but it was too late. Pike had already got a nose in there, and 2-1. We'll have a look here then. So we're on to the brakes. There's the dive down the inside from Marshall, and then look, Pike goes back from cutback and he's cut across. He's started turning across his nose.
Yeah, but most cars are going to be on the exit curve there, right? And he was a decent distance away when that bit of contact happened.
Just word of point of motion as well. The lead battle has actually closed up quite a bit at the front. So we'll be keeping an eye on those two, because it's less than half a second now in Pro as we'll look at Ashley Toft trying to work his way through ahead of Jonathan Ogden.
Indeed. And
it's traffic.
Yeah, battles no matter where you look, and obviously traffic affected battles too as well. And you can see the pro drivers just coming up on those Caymans now. And that will really throw a wrench into the works with those particular battles up and down the pro field as well. So it is multi-class racing action technically, and where does McAuliffe go here? He came in the middle of the road a little bit there, as Eatwell was able to gain a little bit out of that, but then he's going to get blocked a little bit by some traffic ahead as well. So McAuliffe, can he capitalize on this one? He draws himself right onto the rear diffuser of that 911 ahead. McAuliffe has a gap on the inside to try and go for the race lead here, trying to get the traction down, coming through Coppice Corner. Traffic going to be complicating things once again on the way down Starkey Straight, and now you've got to look towards the chicane. McAuliffe is maintaining the overlap, breaks a little bit early, hopes that Eatwell overcommits to the chicane, but he does not. Perfectly executed there from Eatwell. He's still potentially under threat down into the hairpin, but I don't think McAuliffe will take that at this stage, although he is applying a ton of pressure.
He certainly is. Now they've got a little bit of a gap to the next group, and then they'll have the ones further up in the AMs as well. So the problem for Will Eatwell is that he's the first one on scene, and he's waking everyone up to the fact that, oh, there's pro drivers coming through in that 911 Cup class, and so he's actually getting disadvantaged through all of that. That's what's closed up this gap. And now Ryan McAuliffe is putting all of the pressure on. It's whether Will Eatwell now can focus up and try and pull that gap out again that he had, or whether Ryan can really force a mistake out of Will.
Yeah, a battle of an incredible battle to be having at this early stage of the season between these two. It may end up becoming a theme if they are the dominant players in that pro category. Yes, of course, we've got Ed Hope to be concerned about a little bit further down the field here in this instance as well. Obviously, he had a poor start with that incident, so he may have made this a trio in a different universe. But these two at the moment, Eatwell and McAuliffe, giving us a very good show. And also, we can't forget about Am either, because Graveston and Shellcraft are very close in that category as well. So two potential battles for the race lead inside the final 10 minutes. Bit of door banging going on a little bit further behind in Am as well.
Yeah, that's pretty close between third and fourth place then. So it's Jonathan Ogden and Jamie Bardwell who are battling away down towards Redgate. And it's going to be Bardwell who's on the outside line, trying to get the cut back now on the exit of Redgate. You've got to be careful of that curve. It does have a nasty bump there, and it has a habit of spinning you around through Hollywood and then down through the crane of curves in towards the old hairpin. Late brake move! Now, if you're the number 11 there of Ogden, try and get the run out of the corner and get the run up into McLean's. It's a real driver's track is this, and you've got to set up moves, multiple corners, as we get a beautiful super slow-mo shot of Bardwell's car up on two wheels.
Here comes Jordan down the inside. Well, he's looking at the door open in towards Coppice Corner there. Ogden getting a very, very good run coming out the corner. Might be able to challenge Bardwell for third place down in towards the chicane here in this AM category. There's the overlap. He's getting closer and closer as he hits the braking zone in towards the chicane. They're absolutely level as they come towards the first apex, but obviously Bardwell has the better run. Oh, better line through there. And now here comes Jordan. Here comes all sorts with the pro drivers coming in behind as well. Ashley Toft getting himself involved in that extreme inside line, and he might be able to find the opening on the inside between the two of them as well. And we've got pro drivers coming through all at the same time.
Leaders.
This is crazy.
That's your race leader, Will Eatwell, getting caught up there. Ryan McAuliffe with nowhere to go, made contact there with the number 11 of Jonathan Ogden. So, yeah, that's part of the problem when the faster cars coming through. When you've got people who are battling for position, you're trying to yeah, you don't want to compromise their race, but you don't want to compromise your race as well. So, yeah, Ryan McAuliffe will eat well, having to get the shoulders out through the Melbourne hairpin.
Yeah, absolutely. It's easy when you're slower traffic and you've just got, you know, the whole pack coming up on you and no one else around you, right? But it's a completely different situation if you're trying to battle for your own battle for position at the same time as a higher class battle for position is also coming through as well, because that can change the dynamic of either battle. As McAuliffe, he's really driving the wheels off of his 911 Cup car at the moment. I get the feeling he's scrubbing up his tires a little bit more towards the end of this race. Perhaps had saved a little bit more early on to then go on this hard charge onto the back of Eatwell as they head their way through the chicane. It is a good run. It is a really, really good run. Sitting in the slipstream down in towards Melbourne hairpin. Now, is there a door open? Yes, there is. McAuliffe sticks his nose in. Is he going to get the drive off the corner, though? I think he is. McAuliffe back up into the race lead with 6 minutes left to go. Is there a response from Eatwell? I don't think there is just yet. There's a door slightly ajar. The nose was shown, but no commitment out of the final corner. McAuliffe back in the lead for Pro.
Last of the late breakers, that was down into the Melbourne hairpin. As I said, good run through the Fogarty S's and then gets the car stopped. I would have thought that Eatwell would have covered off Ryan in all of that, but I tell you what, sensational stuff. A little tip of the hat from me on that one. That was great stuff. And they're coming up to the AM race leaders as well, who are pretty close together.
Absolutely, indeed. Wow, that's the three, well, two of the three up the battle for position with Graveson and Ben Shalcroft. But of course, you know, you've got the other battles in Pro as well. You've got the battle down in P8 here with Edward Hope continuing to try to work his way back through this field after that incident on lap number 1, trying to recover as many points as possible. That's going to be so important in a championship such as this one, where there are so few rounds. You really, really need to maximize your points from every single race and not have an off day.
Yeah, and I tell you what, if you're Ben Chalcroft, you're thinking, oh, you caught me at the wrong spot right there. He was about to turn in when Ryan McAuliffe was like, no sunshine, I'm not letting you through there. So definitely aggressive. You've got to show aggression. To be at the front there, you've got to show controlled aggression. That was a huge mistake by McAuliffe. He's cut across into the braking zone. That's the worst thing that you can do, Ryan.
Oh my word, you see it happen sometimes. The Caymans, they can't brake as well as the Cup cars. If you're going to swing in front of them during a braking zone, you're going to have an unfortunate surprise in your diffuser, and that's exactly what has happened there.
Well, I think it's the opposite. It's the Caymans brake a little bit later. They're not carrying as much speed down the straight into Redgate. He's cut across, again, aggressively. He doesn't need to do that. And he's hit the brakes because he's had to be able to turn the corner. It's a bugbear of mine. Cutting across somebody's nose when you're lapping them and then hitting the brakes immediately. He's brought that on himself. He should have held his line. Yes, it compromises your run through Redgate, but it ensures your safety. There's a certain element of self-preservation has to take part in races like this.
Yeah, absolutely. That one, that one's going to hurt when he looks back on it, because he might feel aggrieved at the moment and think the Caymans at fault. He might. I'm not a mind reader. He might do. He might not. But definitely looking back on that, I'm sure you would admit that that was that cut across was pretty unnecessary given the circumstances. But we see still more action going on though, as 3 minutes left to go. Edward Hope P10 at the moment, trying to commit around the outside of Ben Ford. What's happened here to Hope then? Because I think he's got himself involved in another little problem.
Yeah, he's dropped a position, hasn't he? He's dropped behind Ben Ford, so it's not going all Edward Hope's way. Oh, that's a late move down into Redgate. That's going to be brave, and they'll give each other space. Good work between the two of them. Hope made it work. That's a good move.
Yeah, and the Cayman in the S's as well, in the crane that curves through towards the old F, and this is the worst point to have a bit of lap traffic, and there's the response down the inside there to be able to gain that position back. So it's still not over yet though, so because the lap traffic is still being an issue for these pro drivers, and eventually they all get themselves sorted coming through there with the two bands, and of course Edward Hope eventually, after much trouble, getting themselves through here. But there's not a lot of time left in this race now, less than 2 minutes to go to sort out our orders. Will Eatwell just needs to get it home. In terms of these other spots though, it's all to play for.
It's a toss of a coin as to who's going to finish where. This is absolutely great. If you wanted an exciting opening round of this Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain, well, you've certainly got it. And do you know what? We've got another race coming up yet as well. Gordon Marshall's got a black flag, so he's going to have to serve a drive-through penalty, as Gordon, in all of this. So that's bad news for the pro driver. Oh, it's all happening in this last 2 minutes.
It really, really is, as they head their way across the line now. So, Ryan McAuliffe, he's on the back of George Tyler, and there's Kieran Sharp a little bit further down the road. So, does McAuliffe, he would desperately want to try to recover a podium finish from this first race, but he's not got a lot of time to be able to do so as he heads his way through McLean's now. And of course we do not know what damage that McAuliffe is dealing with on that car as well after that bit of contact, so may not be 100% as they head their way out of Coppice now. 40 seconds left on the clock for these guys. They should, looking at the timings, get themselves one more lap.
Yeah, they should do, because Will Eatwell's at the Melbourne hairpin. Ryan just had to back up then. Oh, and he's got a slow down penalty. Oh. He's cut across the chicane too much. Oh, now he's gone deep. He's trying to serve that penalty as quickly as possible. He's done so, but he's lost himself the best part of half to 3/4 of a second there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to make this really, really tricky for this final lap. Yes, I would argue under normal circumstances on an undamaged car, he would have a pace advantage here, but you can see a shake of the head coming down the pit straight there. He knows that this has just made it very, very difficult for him on this final lap, and a P4 might be the best that he'll be able to finish here in this first race. Having a look further down the field, still half a second between Grieveson and Shallcraft. Down in the AM category there, which is an interesting thing to keep an eye on. See if there's any last-ditch attempt from Shallcraft to get past Graveson. But there is the number 54 of Will Eatwell, making good progress in the early stages, getting himself past McAuliffe after a mistake, and then it was another mistake that took McAuliffe out of this race. Eatwell maintains now a 6-second advantage as he comes down the back straight for the final time.
Yeah, Will's done everything that he needed to. He's kept his head, kept the pressure on, and done a sterling job at the front. You've got to take your chances when they come to you, and that's exactly what Will Eatwell has done, and the perfect way to launch his championship assault here this season.
Will Eatwell has one more corner to go. Checkered flag is out here at Donington Park as Eatwell will punch it out of the final corner and take the first race win here of the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain season in 2025 by over 6 seconds after McAuliffe fell by the wayside. Having a little bit of a look further back though, as we see the battle in AM raging on between these two. This is for P10 involved in this one side by side through Coppice corner. Just a climatic finish here for the AM drivers. There's a big group heading their way across the line. Adam Graveson does come across the line in AM to take the race win there, but look at this cluster coming down into the chicane.
Nick Scott in 10th place in that number 25 has got a mechanical warning flag, so he's carrying damage here towards the end of the race as Harley Byrne and Matthew Clark are going together. Now down to the inside of Scott, and Scott's going to lose another place here in this one. Carrying damage is one of the worst feelings when you know that you can challenge these people normally.
absolutely leaning on each other coming through the final corner, but the battle does end as they head their way across the line now. Fantastic stuff in the AM category, showing that the AMs can battle just as hard as the pros can as well. Speaking of, we've got, speaking of battles, we've got David Haynes trying a last-ditch attempt here around the outside of Shiraz Khan. Can Cannon hold on to this? A cut back from Haynes coming off the corner. Will end up gaining him the position up into P15. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic move at the end there to be able to make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely great stuff there from David Haynes to get that one in the end. But yeah, sensational stuff. And wow, what an opening round of this championship that we've had here today.
Absolutely. Here are the unofficial race results. Of course, pending stewards review after the race of, because they don't tend to look at things during, they look at things afterwards. As Willie, will take the race win by 6.6 seconds over Kieran Sharp, with George Tyler rounding out the top three. So great podiums there from Eatwell, Sharp and Tyler. Fantastic start to the season. Then you got Ryan McKelliff there in P4. What could have been if that incident with the lap traffic did not happen. Then you got Oliver Stone in P5 with Ned Wharton in P6. A silently competent drive there from Wharton. He was up 6 spots. 8 spots from where he started, which is fantastic for the number 68. Then we got Ryan Elliott in P7. Then you've got the two Bens, Ben Smith in P8, Ben Ford in P9, and Edward Hope in P10. Then you've got Aidan Carter in P11, Andrew Pike in P12, Mike Rayner 13th, with Gordon Marshall 14th, Matthew Cheverton in P15. Then 16th goes to Dave Martin, 17th to Lucan Monroe. Then Alistair Pollock will finish in 18th with Lewis Spenny in P19. Then in AM, it looks like this. Adam Graveston by less than half a second wins over Ben Shallcraft. Then we've got Jamie Bardwell rounding out the podium positions in AM. Then you've got Matthew Jordan in P4 with Jonathan Ogden in P5, Jacob Jenner in P6 with Tom Heritage in P7. Then you've got Ashley Toft in P8. Then you've got Ben Seaver in P9. Harley Byrne rounds out the top 10 in AM. And then in the second half of the AM order, we got Nick Scott, who was dealing with the mechanical issues late on there. Then you've got Matthew Clark, Andy Shell, Jake Andrews, David Haynes will finish in P15. Then you've got Shiraz Khan in P16, Roy Weller P17, David Biggerdike in P18, and then Ryan Hilton with the DNF P19. Well then, we can take a little bit of a breather there. I suppose we kind of need one, because it was action pretty much start to finish, no matter where you looked on circuit. I think someone had said in the YouTube chat recently, even in esports, Donington Park supplies great racing action, and I absolutely agree.
Hey, absolutely. It's one of those classic British circuits that give you plenty to do and plenty to talk about, that is for sure, as well. So, yeah, definitely one to talk about for quite a while. And the thing is, as I said earlier, we've got another race coming up in a few moments' time, so we're just waiting for everything to go on here. So in the meantime, we do get to speak to some of our drivers as well. And hopefully we get to speak to Will Eatwell first, because it'd be good to hear from him in all of this. Will! Welcome to the commentary booth, and my goodness, that was tough going for quite a while, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, really tough going. I had a pretty awful launch actually. I'm gonna have to look at my clutch settings, but luckily got up into P2 at the end of lap 1. I don't know whether Ryan got a slowdown at the chicane. He kind of disappeared for me and then suddenly appeared behind me. Not sure what happened there. But no, I thought I was running good pace. Had some pretty spicy moments with the traffic down in the hairpin. I think we were 3 wide with some Caymans, so it was quite interesting. But yeah, and then there was some contact. I don't know what happened between Ryan and the GT4. I don't know. But not going to complain. I'll take a win. Much better than my terrible tyre decision from last year.
Yeah, well, thankfully I hadn't brought that up, so you're the one who brought it up. But anyway, yeah, traffic seemed to be a big factor in this today because of the fact that you had a little bit of a gap. It wasn't the biggest gap in the world, but it was a gap nonetheless. And then just coming through that traffic, it seemed to be that you were the one waking everyone up to the fact that there was some faster cars coming up behind them.
Yeah, it definitely felt like it. I felt like I was getting most of them kind of braking zone apexes and then clearing the way for Ryan behind me, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Hopefully I get some better luck next race. Yeah, not too many complaints though with how they drove.
Well, all the best for the second race, which will be coming up shortly. Get yourself prepared and good luck for that second race.
Thank you.
That's Will Eatwell joining us, and next to speak to us is actually the man who finished second place in AM, Ben Chalcraft. Hello, welcome along to the broadcast room, and it looked to be that you were able to get close to Adam throughout the race, but then just when you were looking like you were about to start battling, those pesky pros started coming through.
Yeah, there was a little bit of that, but I mean, Adam's pace was great all the way through the race. I was clinging on, and I could hold him there. But like I say, I needed a few more mistakes from him, and I was hoping they might give me the opportunity. But as it turned out, just tended to work the other way and dropped back a little bit. And I was trying to claw my way back, but just didn't quite get there.
I mean, to be fair, it's still, a respectable start to the season as well. It's not exactly the longest season that me and Connery were mentioning, so just about half a second between you two at the end. That puts you off on a good positive step to start off your campaign here this season. Yeah,
well, one shot of a perfect start, so not too bad. And if you can keep hitting podiums, then I'll be more than happy. That's a little bit of an overachievement. We'll see if that carries on through the rest of the rounds, but certainly happy with that for a debut.
Absolutely. Well, get yourselves prepared for that second race, and all the best in that race.
Okay, thanks very much.
That was Ben Chalcraft joining us, and then the driver who finished third in AM here is Jamie Bardwell. And Jamie, it's from our point of view, it looked like it was a very busy race for you. A gain of 4 places throughout that race, but you were under some serious pressure from Matthew Jordan and Jonathan Ogden.
Yeah, my goal going into this race was just to keep it clean and get a decent finish, and then in lap 1 we were 3 wide going down the crane of curves. I was like, oh, it's gonna be like this, is it? And yeah, it all went a bit mental from there, really.
Certainly kept us on our toes, that is for sure. But talk about this Cayman then. How is it to drive and to race? You can have relatively close racing in this car, can't you?
Yeah, the first laps are a bit iffy now with the new tyre model, but once you get them onto temperature, it does handle really nicely, and you can get really close to other people and a bit banging, and it just takes it.
Wonderful. Well, I see that the session is up, so get yourself into that and prepared for the second race. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
There we go, Connery. Oh, I'm surprised that we got some interviews between the races. That's good to see that the driver's so keen to talk to us.
Otherwise, we would have had to fill. Well, the thing is, me and Paul are veterans of filling on broadcast, so it'll end up being completely fine. But yeah, it's great to get the insight from our drivers, and of course, their points of view, their moods going in towards this second race here, and of course, the big theme is that this is the first race meeting of the season. Yes, these guys might have raced each other before, either in this championship or in other championships that are on iRacing or on other sims, but it's still a new group of people, mostly, that a new style of racing that you might perhaps not be quite used to. There's that sort of first day of school vibes. You're kind of figuring out who everyone is, where the pecking order is.
Yeah, you're looking out for who's the school bully, who's the one that you can be friends with, and who are the ones who are the schemers who are trying to sell you some dodgy VCRs. Oh, hang on a second, I'm showing my age now. But yeah, it's certainly well, that's what it was at school for me anyway. But yeah, everybody's learning who they can race against. A lot of these drivers will know each other from other series, as you mentioned, but you don't know how you're going to race as a collective here, and there is a bit of feeling out in these early races of the season, but if you have a nightmare of a race in that first race, at least you've got the opportunity of making amends in the second race now to really try and push on and get salvage a good result out of this week to take forward to the next one. But you can't dwell on mistakes that you did in that first race. You've got to clean slate and start again.
Yes, I mean, we did still make a point at the start of this broadcast, though, that you can't necessarily afford to have bad races, especially if you're going for that top championship, which is why it's so important to keep yourself in it and do what Edward Hope did in that race and just try to charge yourself back through and gain as many points and to not treat this as a throwaway event. There's that opportunity, like you said, to bounce back from this in the second race of this meeting. Absolutely. Again, it's just made it a little bit more difficult because of that performance in that first event. But yeah, I'm absolutely looking forward to this one. Once again, of course, it is a change of we have to change things around with the server. We may have different track conditions as well, so that all gets factored into this. As well, just to make things even more complicated for us and for the drivers. But yeah, in terms of expectations coming into this next race, obviously we're keeping an eye on the top couple of the pros. Will Eatwell obviously having a stellar start. How does Mikolev try to manufacture something out of the second race now?
I think he can't drive frustrated. As I say, you've got to have a clean slate and you've got to do what works for you. I mentioned that Ryan is an incredibly quick driver. He really is. But he showed in that first race, he can be prone to the odd mistake here and there. I think that's what's cost him in previous championships elsewhere as well. If he can nail down that consistency with that pace, I think he's on for the championship, personally. I really do. But more mistakes like that gives people like Will Eatwell the opportunity to take that, to be the ultimate opportunist. In AM, I mean, we saw it. Adam Graveson, really good performance, really good speed from him. Whether he can then translate that into that second race now, we'll have to wait and see. But good to see that we've got someone like Ben Tralcroft able to compete with him as well and to push him all the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're back in the new server. Some new set of track conditions. It's 19 degrees in the air, 26 degrees Celsius in terms of the track temperature, and 18 kilometers an hour in terms of the wind here on just a couple of minutes past 3 in the afternoon sim time here. So drivers will get this opportunity. They have this little warm-up session just to acclimatize to the current track conditions and to set their sights, for this next event. But yeah, it's I've always enjoyed being a part of these particular broadcasts and these races. There's always action up and down these fields, and hopefully it does continue throughout the rest of the season that we have to run, and we'll get a deserving champion at the very end of it. But yeah, Paul, it's great to be back for me. It's been my first commentary gig in a while. I just wanted to put that personal note out there. But I just want to see how you guys are doing. Of course, we've got our we're on the Porsche Twitch as well. So hello to the Porsche Twitch, and also we are on the RaceSpotTV YouTube pages as well. So thank you for joining us for wherever you're watching and however you're watching. And I could do the normal thing of where you're watching from. So just drop your country, your location, not exact location address, right? Just don't be silly like that. But whatever country, whatever region you're from, drop it in the chat, and then we can maybe pick out some interesting ones.
I want region, I want postcode, I want inside leg measurements, I want all of your data, please. That's me being a little bit facetious there. But no, it's, I mean, what a great community we have right across the Porsche network of series. I mean, you look at it, all the various nations Carrera Cup Esports series, these sprint challenge series again across the multiple nations, plus the World Championship scene as well with the Esports Super Cup. It's just great to see this family of Porsche supporters and racing supporters all out there watching what we get to put on. And I tell you what, Motorsport UK and Porsche GB put on a tremendous show each and every year.
Absolutely, it's great to be a part of. And we've got a couple of people responding. We've got Zakon supporting from Sweden. Yeah, I'll be going there in the new year, so that's quite fun. We've got Motorsport UK Esports saying Motorsport UK HQ. Okay, I wouldn't expect you to be anywhere else at this point. Supporting from the UK in Lowestoft. Fantastic.
The most easterly town in Great Britain. Lowestoft, yeah. There you go. There's a random fun fact for everybody.
And JDM UK saying, watching from the UK, I've actually been at Donington Park today for GT3 test day. Interesting. Okay, cool. That's absolutely awesome. I hope you enjoyed the GT3 test day there. But as this warm-up session has now expired, we'll get ourselves back into some action out there on circuit, shall we? It's been a fantastic first race, and we're just about to enter the second. We're gonna have to do this grid rather quickly though, as it is Will Eatwell taking pole position with Kieran Sharp in P2, then George Tyler and Ryan McAuliffe lining up third and fourth, then Oliver Stone fifth, and Ned Werton sixth. Elliott will start in 7th with Smith in 8th. Ford starts 9th with Hope in 10th, Carter 11th, and Pike in 12th. Rayner will start in 13th with Marshall 14th, Cheverton 15th, Dave Martin 16th, then you got Monroe and Pollock rounding out the 18 cars in Pro. And then the last 19th car is Lewis Benny. Then very quickly, Gravestone starts from pole position in AM with Childcraft in 2nd, Bardwell, Jordan, Ogden and Jenner in that order down to P6. Then Heritage, Toft, Saber, Byrne, Scott and Clark down to P12. And, well, they're not going to wait around for this, are they? As we get ourselves back ready here on the starting grid at Donington Park. Race number 2 of the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain is underway. It's a fantastic start from Eatwell from the very front of the field. As we'll see, McAuliffe tried to make some progress early on here. And actually, McAuliffe challenging for P2. You can see in the yellow car around the outside of Redgate, trying to get in the face of Kieran Sharp as he holds on, as we see a big incident happening towards the very back of the field. That is unfortunate. Big incident through Redgate, as we see the front of the field head their way through the old hairpin now for the first time in race number 2. But McAuliffe gaining positions on the start here. So crucial to make sure that Eatwell doesn't get away.
Alistair Pollock was the car that we saw, the GCW racing car. Edward Hope has got involved as well at turn 1, so it goes from bad to worse for Edward here. But we've got tremendous action on this opening lap, and again the front 2 are breaking away, and Ryan McAuliffe did everything that he had to do at the start of the race. Pushed hard, was super aggressive off of the start, whereas Kieran Sharp, George Tyler and co, they're all fighting it out here for this 3rd place.
Yeah, Sharp down the inside at the hairpin. Remember, there's going to be at least some cold tyres going on with these cars here at the moment. So you're having to tiptoe them around a little bit, especially with how much power and weight is on those rear axles. Those rear tyres are really going to be problematic in these opening laps. But as they head their way out the final corner, you can see directly ahead of Oliver Stone there, Ned Werton getting a massive whack of oversteer as he tries to put the power down out of the final corner. But that will get better and better as the race goes on, as those rear tyres heat up. But yeah, it is a tricky one to pilot these cars around at the very start of the race, where there's no optimal anything going on.
No, absolutely not. You can't push the tyres too hard, or else you're a bit too aggressive and you end up affecting the end of the tyre life. But you also have to be aggressive, because that's the best chance of working the way through the field. So as we've got side-to-side contact there between Heritage and Jenner as we go through into McLean's once again. Oh, and they're still close, tight together. And Nick Scott is having on the outside looking in, wanting a piece of all the action here. That was asking a bit much there. Unfortunately, Jacob Jenner just left that space there for Scott's front end to be in.
Absolutely. Just that little opportunity needed. As we are looking back from some of your pro order cars there, as they get themselves a bit of a swap going on down in towards the chicane. And we've got Ben Sieber with the onboard here as well at the moment. So things being shaken up and down the field in both classes here, mostly due to this in pros. And again, it's Edward Hope finding the gravel, this time on the outside. Redgate gets drilled by cars coming in further behind, having their own incident.
Jonathan Ogden was one of those drivers, and bang, yeah, that's what's caused Edward Hope to have to park the car. Jamie Bardwell as well, that's what happened to Pollock. He's got involved in all this, and then watch, he boots it out of the corner now as the other car, the GT4, is trying to recover from the gravel trap himself. More cars were involved in all of that, but yeah, carnage at Redgate. Meanwhile, David Biggerdike, around he goes, and fortunately nobody hits him. That was a good effort from those directly behind.
Yeah, good heads-up driving as we return back to the live pictures. This is with Ashley Toft, who finds himself in P5 here at the moment, and well, going to end up losing that P5 very, very shortly to Jacob Jenner, who heads their way down the inside at Coppice. So that's having swapped around. Meanwhile, we've got Aidan Carter involved in a little bit of a battle here. In and amongst a couple of others, we've got Ben Ford, we've got Oliver Stone also involved in this as well. This gaggle of cars towards the middle and bottom end of the top 10 in pro. Looking back from Andrew Pike, that's Brian Elliott and Ben Smith getting into it with each other, coming off the corner there. Fantastic, close battling in the very, very early stages of race 2 here.
Certainly is, and this is the opportunities. This is where you've got to try and gain those places while you can. I mean, Aidan Carter is up 6 places into 5th place. Great launch from him at the start of the race, taking advantage of those around him having a few issues, and yeah, he'll be delighted with that launch to get himself up there into 5th, but he's got the tall order trying to catch up the best part of 3 seconds to Kieran Sharp, George Tyler. Meanwhile, your 2 leaders are back at it, close together, half a second, as we continue to look at this fight for 11th and 12th place.
Indeed, and well, more these battles continuing to go on, and sometimes a little bit of a bump and a bang there as well, as Smith looks to try to make some progress on Dave Martin here down in towards the chicane. But it is a big long train of cars as the 10's off ahead. That's Ben Ford out into the grass, and I think he's taking someone else with him too.
Pike. It's Pike. Andrew Pike's been taken with him as well, so we'll have to get another look at that one through the Fogarty S's. So yeah, that's rather unfortunate what's happened there, but yeah, that incident will I'm sure that they're going to be determined to keep the Motorsport UK stewards busy in this one, and it's just there. He got caught on the curb, the car breaks away, and Andrew Pike has nowhere to go in that, ends up making contact with the side of the car.
Yeah, absolutely. From up above as well, you can just see the full extent of the incident there. And well, it's put a damper on both drivers' races. We can see the view from Andrew Pike. Let's see what he saw coming out of the corner there. Just car getting loose ahead, and well, you basically cannot pick a right direction there.
I mean, the car in front there of the number 10 of Ben Ford, he was already, the back end wasn't behaving through the left part of Foggy S's, then swings it right, and the back end breaks away, and he hits the brakes, he locks up all wheels, and that just caught out Andrew Pike. Andrew Pike thought he was going to carry on sliding and go off, but that's a nice little cut back there down the inside. That's the 22 of Oliver Stone and Ned Wharton together. Ned's having a few issues with his connection there as well, engaging the cloaking device.
That's no way to phrase it, that's for sure. But Oliver Stone, despite the issues for Oulton, is still going to challenge down the inside in towards Goddard, and I think he's going to get this position done as well. So Stone, he's in B6 now. He's still down one based on where he started, but a good recovery as Oulton will try to respond down the inside at Redgate. They get close coming through the middle of the corner there, and is there, well, does Ned get clear? I think he will by the time at the end of this first apex of the Craner curve, as long as he can return to the realm of the living.
Yes, absolutely. I did see in the Porsche chat, by the way, somebody was asking if the pros are in the 911 and the AMs in the GT4s. That is correct. So the pros are all in the 911, 992 GT3 Cup car, and then the AMs are in the Cayman, the 718 Cayman GT4 car.
Indeed. So yes, it is a multi-class event, even though it's, well, we're seeing big changes inside of Pro there. George Tyler and Kieran Sharp having a little bit of a swap around for position there at the very top of our timing tower. Once again, it is the front two that have run away from the rest, though. Will Eagle and Ryan McAuliffe, the same names from last race, just getting on with it and establishing the gap at the very front of the field and leaving the rest of them to scrap the third and back. In terms of AMP, though, it's a similar story to last race. It's Graveston that leads from Shellcraft by around about the same gap as well. So 7/10 of a second, almost 8/10 of a second between those two at the moment. Matthew Jordan not that far behind either, but still would need to make some inroads to try and improve his position onto the second or first step of the podium. But Graveston, you know, quiet and consistent, and that's kind of been his MO for previous Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain's as well.
Yeah, absolutely has, and the number 154, and a nice look at that GT4 machine, the Cayman, and of course this Cayman is used in the full metal GT4, the Porsche Sprint Challenge Great Britain. So that series uses purely this machine that we're looking at right now. The esports series, we've got that separation of the pros being in the cup car, but yeah, the full metal racing, they drive in this this beautiful Cayman, and why wouldn't you want to race one of these lovely machines of a Saturday and Sunday afternoon? But Adam Graveston, yeah, you're absolutely right, doing a good job. But as we said, speaking to Ben Chalcraft, Chalcraft, should I say, if I put my teeth in. Not a bad debut to the season, though. He finished second in that first race in AM. He's currently holding on to second as well.
Yeah, confident race so far, and confident event for Shellcraft at the moment. Of course, every single racing driver will tell you they want to go, and anything other than a win is slightly disappointing. But Shellcraft's, you know, keeping himself in it, and again, if anything happens to Graveston, he's right there, right? He's in that position where he can capitalize if anything does happen. But look at this battle in the pro order. They're still absolutely stacked up behind Ned Oulton here at the moment. This is the battle for P6 on your screen, so it's Oulton, Stone, Martin, Smith in that order. Smith looking to try and get onto the back of Martin there in the bright blue, as Ryan will try to defend this one coming through McLean's, and then we'll probably have to try to defend coming up into Coppice as well. But no, as Smith will stay in line for the moment and look to try to fight another day. But ahead of them, obviously, we've got this battle between Oulton and Stone. 18.5 minutes left to go. I'm not expecting any risky moves at this stage, but obviously if this status quo is maintained throughout, then it might make the last couple of laps interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah, certainly. Oh, getting a little bit wide there. That's a lock-up of the wheel, and that's a crucial difference there between the pros and the AMs. No traction control, no ABS on these cup cars, and so from 6th place down to 9th now for Ned Oulton. So much big change of position there. We've got changes of position further down in your AM field as well. Harley Byrne, we saw in the chat support for them coming to us in the in the YouTube chat. So yeah, it's great to get a sights on Harley, and that's 11th place behind Shiraz Khan, who himself has got support as well from Pakistan. So great to see international audience for a British series.
Yeah, fantastic, absolutely. And,
oh, I tell you what, that was proper sim racers lean right there from Shiraz as well. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, and as Byrne having, so Khan going very, very deep in towards the Melbourne hairpin, losing multiple positions in the process, wiping sweat from his brow. Yeah, that's going to have to require a deep breath after that one, because that was a bit of a catastrophic mistake.
That all started at the chicane there, was being put into some serious pressure, and yeah, I think just a little bit of inexperience with the series there. Great to see newcomers in this championship, it must be worth saying. And yeah, that'll go. Oh my goodness, we've gone bowling behind. Who was that? I think it might have been Luca Monroe. It was. Went bowling between, almost did a 7-10 split there.
We'll see. Well, they get back going, at least. Perhaps not impressed with what happened. Ooh, this car basically having a bunch of sparks, trying to get themselves back to the pits there. But yeah, that was didn't quite catch that one on the live pictures so much, but probably line up some form of replay of it regardless. So here we go. There's Luca Monroe. A little bit of battling going on ahead. Let's see what happens with Luca, with the number 56. Late on the brakes, perhaps a little too late, and well, tries to shoot a gap down the middle, but just, you know, that was always going to end one way.
And it was Jonathan Ogden that we saw with the sparks who he hit. So Ogden already, remember, got involved in that turn 1 incident right at the very start of the race, and after what had happened there, he's got himself repaired and back out there, and then unfortunately found himself at the wrong place at the wrong time. There's a bit of a rub. You normally have to pay to get a service like that, but he got it for free there. And so fortunately everything going, and there goes Ben Smith.
Smith's around, coming out of the chicane, gets back going again in a clear bit of air, but that was in battle with Ryan Elliott and Ned Wharton as well, in that little pack that was getting itself around the circuit. But now they're less one member. Here comes Ben. You see what happens to Ben Smith. First apex slides out, corrects into the second apex, but again maintains the slide. It's just the weight balance of that car was all over the place coming through the chicane there. Once it steps out once and you try to get into that second apex, it's probably going to step out again.
And just remember as well, with this Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car, the engine is slung past the rear or the rear wheels there, so it acts like a pendulum. So once you get a bit of a slide on like that, and you're changing direction through a chicane like the Fogarty S's, then it acts like a pendulum, sends the car around, and that's why the pros, you've been seeing a few of the pros having a bit of spins, and that's the lead.
It is down in towards the chicane there. McAuliffe with a big move to be able to make that one happen. He's back up into the race lead. Ewell, though, definitely don't count him out of this. These two have been stuck together like glue for the majority of the 2 races that we've had today. And of course, there is traffic ahead which can disrupt things once again, just like it did in the first event.
Yeah, and they are actually catching up to a big group of cars, starting with number 13, which is David Biggerdike, who's trying to work his way through the AM class. So again, is it going to be roles reversed here, Connery, and seeing Ryan McAuliffe waking up those AMs to the fact that there's pros coming through right now past the halfway point of this race?
Yeah, it's yeah. You never want to see it when you are lead lap cars, you're involved in that battle, and you see a big train of AM drivers ahead of you. It increases the stress level just that little bit. And you can see from the back of Biggerdike here comes the pro race leaders trying to get themselves through. Eat well. Does he decide to go down the inside as well? I think he does. So able to get through that relatively clear for those pro drivers. But yeah, you got to be. You got to have your head in a swivel when it comes to these sorts of situations. Biggerdike again, then letting Eat well through towards the chicane. Now the pro drivers are going to catch a couple of AM drivers, a couple of Caymans down into the hairpin as well. Which again, not the the ideal opportunity if you can get yourself down towards the inside. If you can't, then you're kind of a bit stuck.
Asher Toft, Nick Scott, Jacob Jenner, all still together here in this one as well. And change of position there. Nick Scott, who we saw in that first race, having damage to his car at the end of the race, just falling down the order, looking in a lot better spot, up 7 places from where he started in this one. So Nick's really pushing on and trying to gain those places here in this one, but it's not over yet here for Nick against Jacob. Down the inside.
Oh, big move on Jenner, but Jenner able to hold on in that bright yellow Cayman. Is there a threat into Coppice as well? I wouldn't have thought so, given that Scott lost a little bit of speed due to that move, but he can carry it through here, down on towards the back straights, inside the strip seam just that little bit, work his way towards the inside for the chicane. Does he have an overlap? Not quite yet, so Jenner is free to come down on a cross, but that's a big cut of the second apex there from Jenner.
It is, and it gets some slow down penalty. So yeah, so Jacob Jenner is going to have to serve that slow down penalty. Nick Scott doesn't necessarily know that they've got that though, and is continuing to fight here. I'd go to the inside of Goddard. Oh, still close, but yeah, it's Jacob Jenner's determined to try and serve this penalty while staying ahead. That's easier said than done.
Yeah, still has it active on the way down in towards turn number 1. The door is open on the inside. Jenner will still try to fight it, but then realizes, well, he's left it a little bit too long, I'm afraid, because he's just gotten himself a penalty. He didn't serve it in time.
And that's, David Biggerdike, no, and it's a carnage at Goddard. Oh, Biggerdike, what on earth has happened there? We join him facing the wrong way, and then there's a bunch of pros come through. That was Rayner, Marshall and Wharton all together then.
Yeah, absolutely. And Wharton, again, trying to fight with Marshall coming through Redgate there. These especially the back of Wharton's car is looking a little damaged here at this stage. But here's Biggerdike coming through, just a solo spin in a very vulnerable position as there's Ned Wharton off.
Oh, this is carnage. This is yeah, that car's gonna need some Porsche specialist spares to that one. Yeah, Marshall's carrying a lot of damage. In fact, Marshall's got a black flag. Here we go then. This is down into the old hairpin. Oh, right. So he's braked for the corner, but he's come across the front as well, and Wharton has ended up into the back of him, fired off into the gravel trap.
Yeah, that's a weird little incident down into the old hairpin there. So Marshall has got himself a penalty as well as a result of that. A lot of these obviously will be due to things like incident limits and things like that at this stage as well. So it's not just it's not going to be the marshals or rather the stewards having handed down penalties already. That usually happens at the end of this race. A lot of the penalties you're seeing are the automated penalties from instant point limit or not serving a slowdown penalty.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there, Connery. Oh, you've been away, but you're absolutely spot on once again with how things work here. As there goes your race leaders trying to work their way past this AM traffic. So pros versus AMs, and Nick Scott trying to take advantage of that. That's something that you can do when you lack traffic. Those pros can compromise the drivers that you're fighting against and can give you these opportunities to try and take those places.
Yeah, make them make the gap. That's one of the ways you can use the faster traffic to your advantage as a slower class. And it's not just in these, the difference between the 992 Cup cars and these Caymans, but even in more drastic differences, like I don't know, prototypes versus GT4 cars, right? It's the same sort of situation where the GT4s can really leverage those faster classes to be able to try and get themselves through and improve their own position in their own battles. It's all a strategic game. Chess played at a good couple of 100 kilometers an hour.
A top speed of nearly 240 kilometers an hour for pros.
200 kilometers an hour, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's great stuff to see, and as we carry on down the hill, Aidan Carter, it's worth pointing out, is now up to 5th place in Pro. He's been pretty much in that place, but he's right there with Kieran Sharp. So Kieran calls himself Average Sharpie on social media, and well, he's not been able to keep with George Tyler through this race, and he's falling into the clutches of Aidan Carter.
Carter looking strong in this second race, up 6 places from where he started. Not the biggest mover in this entire field, though. That goes to David Hayes down in 7th place in AM here at the moment. The biggest pro mover is Dave Martin, who's up 9, up into 7th place here at the moment. So, there are some decent races for individual drivers going on out there. And here's Ben Smith looking to try and press the issue once again, having to dart past the slower bit of traffic there, all while in a bit of a battle with Matthew Cheverton here, down in towards the chicane. And Smith's going to get the run out of the corner. It's going to stall out a little bit as there goes Cheverton down towards the inside to try and cover off that line. But the late braking is a bit too much from Ben Smith, and now he's under threat from Andrew Pike, because Pike might be able to sling it one in underneath there, but doesn't quite have the speed off the corner.
The only positive that Ben can take from taking such a wide line through the Melbourne hairpin is that he gets on the power a bit earlier, and it means that he was able to outpull Andrew Pike out of the corner there, so that's why he was able to stay ahead of the TSRC driver. So for the time being, it's Smith where he was. He's fallen down 3 places in this race. He won't be too happy with how his performance has gone here in this second race. But yeah, what battling. We said it, didn't we, right before the first race, that if you don't get battling in one class, you get it in another class, and it's proving to be that way once again.
It really is. No shortage of places to look. As we have 5 minutes left to go here, we're continuing to watch the Cheverton, Smith and Pike battle. This is for P10, 11 and 12 in the pro category. They've got some lap traffic ahead of them as well. A group of 3, a group of 2. It's the 2 Caymans that are going to be in the way here, and actually one of them will split them down in towards the chicane here. So Smith's not going to be too impressed with that, but that's just how things shake up sometimes.
The nature of multi-class racing. It's just how it works. And now they're trying to fight their way through a battling race between Jake Andrews and David Haynes. Haynes had an issue at the chicane, I do believe it. And he's picked the wrong side. He's got caught up behind the 129 of Jake Andrews, and that cost Ben Smith a ton of time there.
Yeah, Cheverton able to run away a little bit. The breathing room has been established between those two there. As we have a look at what happened to David Haynes in the number 6, coming up towards the chicane. And doesn't make any contact with the barrier though. Just an unfortunate trip through the gravel, and is able to rejoin the circuit in a safe fashion. There we go.
In an exuberant fashion is what I would say. The overall race lead, by the way, Ryan McAuliffe has been able to pull it out to a 2nd now, so just not quite able to hang on for now with 3.5 minutes remaining.
Yeah, well, we've seen a mistake or two from McAuliffe throughout the event so far, so I wouldn't count entirely out, but yeah, it is looking a little desperate at this stage for Eatwell in terms of his race win aspirations, and it wouldn't only be a race win, it would be a double race win to start off the season as well, which would have been fantastic for him. But McAuliffe spoils the party a little bit, gains 3 positions off of the start and recovers well from that first race. Meanwhile, we are on board with Alistair Pollock. High rate of knots up to the back of the Cayman there, able to negotiate the situation off the corner though, but that was maybe a sharp intake of breath.
Yeah, it was Roy Weller that he suddenly came across there at the Fox TSs, and you saw his eyes just suddenly get really big there, didn't you? As to how the body reacts to suddenly something like that. It's like, ooh, that's a close one. Yeah, it's such a tempting place is the Fox TSs. If you get a good run, you're thinking, oh yes, I'm going to have them down to the Melbourne hairpin, and then in a moment's time you're ending up facing the wrong way and you're going, what on earth happened? It's just the nature of the circuit, and as was said earlier on in the chat, Donington Park bringing us tremendous racing.
Yep, it really is. There to Smith, who ends up ahead coming across the start-finish line.
Yeah, so that change of position finally for them. The overall race leader should have about a lap and a half remaining in this one, so yeah, it's Ryan's to lose now, I do believe. But Adam Greaveson, again, we've not really been mentioning him in this one, but Adam, he is doing a sterling job at the front of Am in the second race. A bigger gap between himself and Ben Chalcraft. Oh my goodness, I'm having a day with names today. But yeah, he's having a really, really good day today, is Adam.
Smith on we're going to have a bit of battle here towards the end. 10 seconds left remaining as we see the number 79, that's Mike Rayner, and Andrew Pike get themselves close. Ben Smith making some good progress here as there's the pass happening with Pike, so Rayner having big issues here towards the end. There's a bit of a tangle coming through the Melbourne hairpin with a couple of drivers getting themselves around. That was the number 25 involved in that one, as well as Cheverton. So there's the Cheverton down into P12, tangling with the Cayman.
Yeah, it was Nick Scott. Nick Scott must be thinking, what have I got a big bullseye on my car or something, because that's the second race in a row that he's had some sort of contact there. But yeah, that was a bit ambitious on the brakes there. He was so concentrating on defending from Ben Smith, and then bang into the side of Nick Scott's Cayman. Up and down the place goes Matthew Cheverton.
As we look towards the front of the field, we see the live pictures right there of Ryan McAuliffe just dealing with the number 5 Cayman just in the back end of the lap here. A bit of time going Will Eatwell's way, but it's not going to be enough. And it's Ryan McAuliffe coming out the final corner in the second race of the season in the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain and takes the race win. Ryan McAuliffe takes it from Will Eatwell, and then George Tyler about 6.5 seconds behind. Meanwhile, in Am, you've got Adam Greaveson with a comfortable, with a confident finish here in the AM category to take the race win, to be a double race winner in the first race meeting of the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain. A fantastic performance from Graveston to be able to do that in the AM category.
Brilliant stuff. Great to see there from Adam to be able to do so. And Ben Chalcraft, 2 podiums on debut, along with Matthew Jordan getting onto the podium as well. That's his first podium in AM here this season. What a couple of races we've had here tonight.
Yep, awesome stuff indeed. And this is what the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge is all about. It's the action up and down the fields, the close action in both Pro and in AM as well, as the rest of the runners head their way across the line here at Donington Park as we draw the racing action at least to a close for this evening. And yeah, the sights have indeed been set for the rest of the season for all of your drivers involved in this one. But the unofficial results look like this. It's Ryan McAuliffe that takes the race win in Pro from Will Eatwell. So a bit of a swap around compared to the first race between those two. It's shaping up to be a good championship already with the 171 and the 54. George Tyler will come away with a podium in the number 17 car, and Kieran Sharp with a P4. Then Aidan Carter comes home 5th with Oliver Stone in P6, Dave Martin in 7th with Ryan Elliott 8th, Ben Smith in 9th, and Andrew Pike in 10th. Then you got Mike Rayner P11 with Matthew Cheverton in P12. Then you got Gordon Marshall in P13, Lewis Benny P14, Alistair Pollock in P15, Ned Worton P16, Edward Hope 17th, Monroe in 18th, and Ford being the DNF there down in P19 alongside with Monroe, who was also a DNF. Then you got the results in AM. Adam Graveson stamping his authority on this Cayman class with 5 seconds over Ben Shalcraft. Then the final podium sitter will be Matthew Jordan. Tom Heritage will come away with a 4th place finish in the second race with Ashley Toft in P5. Then Nick Scott will be in P6 with Ben Swieber in P7. Then Jake Andrews in P8, Harley Byrne 9th, and David Haynes in P10. Matthew Clark in P11 with Roy Weller in P12. Then David Biggerdike in P13 for the number 13 car. That's quite funny. As Jamie Bardwell will finish in P14. Then Shiraz Khan in 15th, Andy Shell in 16th, Jacob Jenner 17th, Ryan Hilton in P18, and Jonathan Ogden being the only DNF in AM at the back of the order. Well then, what 2 races we have had. The drivers are already getting themselves ready to speak to us here in the commentary booth, and well, I don't think we've had drivers so quickly want to speak to us, to be honest, Paul.
Yeah, let's get underway then with Ryan McAuliffe, who was the pro race winner here in race number 2. And Ryan, I think that you would have had 2 races, but
and unfolded from there. And then the GT4 incident was completely ugly. It's the first time I've really done multi-class, so I didn't realise I couldn't pull back in. It was completely my mistake. But other than that, it was decent and a good start this race, which helped me obviously win.
And it's a good positive start to the championship as well. Okay, yeah, you got a P4 though. You were still able to recover a P4 in race 1, getting the win here in race 2 with an ultra aggressive start to the race here in the second one. You got an incredible launch, and then you were just determined to get up there with Will, weren't you?
Yeah, you have to be a bit aggressive, and I was like, if I don't get these 2 at the start, then I'm going to get caught in the battles. He's going to drive off, and the dirty air around here in these cars, honestly, as soon as you get within half a second, the car just feels like it's got no rear wing. It's really bad, but I had to be aggressive, and it worked. It was clean, and everything went well, so I'm happy.
Well, congratulations on the win in race number 2 and all the best for next week.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate it.
So that was our race winner from race 2. Let's take second place now in Pro of Will Eatwell. And Will, starting from pole position, you got a good start, but that pesky yellow Porsche was right there with you once again in this race.
Yeah, I was much happier with my launch, but it looked like Ryan got an absolute flyer. I was slightly disappointed to see him in P2 before we got through Sector 1, but that's how it goes. No, we both had really good pace. I think we both got pretty good luck with the traffic. It's about even, but yeah, no, really good race, that one.
And it's a good positive start to the season. A first place and a second place. You can't ask for much better other than getting 2 race wins, can you?
No, absolutely. Yeah, really happy to just get some good points. I wasn't when Ryan stuck his nose in at the chicane. I wasn't really going to fight it too hard because just want to get through these first 2 races with some good results, and it can start the hard fighting a bit later on in the season.
Absolutely. Fight when it matters, that's for sure. But congratulations, though, Will, on a tremendous opening week to the season.
Thank you very much.
So that's our second place driver, Will Eatwell. And then George Tyler. I do believe we have George. Mr. Tyler, hello, welcome along to the commentary box. And congratulations on the first podium of the season here in race number 2.
Hi, yeah, feels really good. I was here last year and I didn't manage to get a single podium. And so it feels good to get 2 in one race today.
And it's a great positive start to the season, but you've had to fight for it in both races, haven't you? You've had a really stern challenge up there at the front of this field. Talk us through, how did your evening go here today?
I was a bit surprised, actually. I was kind of happy with my quali, even though I bottled the second lap. But there was a lot of fast people who didn't really make it up to the front this race. So it kind of made my life a bit easier. So I think it's going to get really tough going into the next races.
It certainly will, but is it a case of having to get a bit more practice with the fixed setup? Because Ryan and Will, they just seem to have that edge, didn't they, in this opening week?
Yeah, even when battling against each other. I mean, most of the time, especially in that second race, I had no one in front of me. And even I just felt like I was really managing the tyres and I just couldn't extract the pace that those guys could.
Well, all the best for next week, and hopefully you progress up through the field. Congratulations on 2 podiums, sir.
Thank you very much, guys.
There we go. That's our Pro podium done. Let's go on to the AMs now, and first of all is double race winner in AM, Adam Graveson. Welcome back to the commentary box here, and a perfect start to your AM championship.
Yeah, cheers, bud. It went better than I was expecting tonight. So,
well, you can't really get a better start to the season, but Ben Childcraft, to be debut to the series, and he's pushed you, especially in that first race, pushed you all the way to the end.
Yeah, we've just been saying in the waiting room that the times are within a tenth for all of us, fastest lap from that last race. So yeah, I think it just came down to who made the least mistakes, really.
And it's a good positive start to the season for you as well.
Yeah, it was nice to get going swinging for the first round, so get some points on the board.
Well, congratulations on the 2 race wins here today, and all the best for the rest of the season now.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
There we go. That's our race winner, Adam Graveson. We've spoken to him once this evening, but we'd be rude not to speak to him again. What a debut. 2 podiums here in AM. Okay, you're a little bit further back this time, but still, it's a really good, positive start to your season, isn't it, Ben?
Yeah, not too bad at all. If you'd offered me that at the start of the day, I'd have taken it. How it played out, Adam was just there, and I just couldn't quite hook onto him. There was a few small opportunities, but no, he was really good and really consistent, to be fair. So congrats to him, and we'll have another go next time.
And you had a bit of company from behind as well towards the end of that race, didn't you? Matthew Jordan was loitering with intent, wasn't he?
He hung on for a long time. Obviously, there was the incident at the first turn, and he was us three kind of got away, and he couldn't shake him whatsoever. He was there for most of the race. He did drop back a little bit in the middle, and then there was I think a back marker spun in front of me and kind of pulled across my front, which cost me a lot of time. And then he was right back there again. So was just watching the mirrors for that last lap and keeping it safe, because by that time Adam had disappeared. So the win was lost. So he was just hanging on to second at that point.
Well, congratulations, though. 2 podiums on your debut. Well done, Ben.
Thanks very much.
And then we get to speak to our 3rd podium sitter here in the second race. Matt Jordan, congratulations then on getting the podium here in that second race. And you had to work your way forward in that one as well. As we've just heard from Ben, avoiding that incident at the start of the race, that was a big key thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was crucial. I actually got quite a bad start on the inside, dropped back to 5th, I think it was, just about, but it was actually quite lucky because I just held the inside and managed to avoid the carnage on my outside. So yeah, got a bit lucky there, but that was crucial to my race, really.
And just talk to us about in that fight with Ben all the way through there. You're there or thereabouts, and having to work your way through the traffic coming through. How was that? How intense was it here at Donington Park?
Yeah, I was just trying to stay on their tail, really. They're both very fast, very consistent. I was there or thereabouts on pace, but just had a few laps where I made a couple of mistakes and then lost touch a bit. And then navigating through the traffic or the faster cars coming through is just it's really tough. So just trying to find the best place to let them through without costing yourself too much time. I think I did it relatively well. First time doing multi-class racing, so still getting one thing to get used to for next week.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a bit of a different style. But congratulations, though, Matthew, on getting yourself a podium there in that second race today.
Thank you very much. Cheers, guys.
There we go, Connery. So all of our podium sitters, I'm not used to speaking to the entirety of a podium here today, so drivers keen to talk to us.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's great to get that insight. And actually, one thing I really picked up on was not only the last person you interviewed there, but a couple of them mentions that multi-class is not something that they're really familiar with. They might have just been racing in the Porsche Fix series on iRacing or the Open series, and not necessarily considered that one day they're going to have to deal with another type of car on circuit. So it's really interesting to see it from that perspective, and I imagine that's going to be something that's, again, we'll get to talk about in the next couple of races as well, as they get used to this style of racing, I suppose.
I think when we come to tracks like Oulton Park, I think it's going to be a real eye-opener for them, because it is quite a narrow track around there, and there does need to be that bit of cooperation between the two classes. So I think that one could be a bit of interspersion and a little bit of contact between the classes there. But we've got a great schedule coming up for the rest of the season. I can't wait for the next 4 weeks coming forward.
Absolutely. Next time out, we head to Thruxton for our second race meeting of the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge at Great Britain. It is a fantastic venue to have as our second racing circuit, and we certainly hope that everyone at home has enjoyed this first event at Donington Park and will continue to join us for these next upcoming rounds in the season. Thruxton is coming up next for the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Great Britain. I've been Connery Manick, that's been Paul Smith. You've been watching this on the Porsche channels and on RaceSpotTV, and we'll see you at Thruxton.